Hi guys, for this video we will be discussing the process selection and facility layout for the subject operations management. So let's begin. Ano nga ba ang process selection? Here it is defined as the ways organizations choose to produce or provide their goods and services. It involves choice of technology, type of processing, and so on. These choices have important implications for capacity planning, layout of facilities, equipment choices, and the design of work systems. So basically, process selection, dito nyo ina-identify kung anong klaseng process ang meron kayo for your business. So it's a little bit confusing to understand right now, the term process selection. Pero as we go along with this video discussion, I hope na you will understand a little bit better kung ano nga ba ang process selection. So for this process selection, we have two important key words to take note: variety and volume. Usually, dito lang sa dalawang ito, umiikot ang different processes na meron tayo for in every business that is existing. Usually, ang pinag-uusapan lang natin is yung variety ng goods or service na pinoproduce and yung volume, kung gaano kadami ito pinoproduce, kung gaano kadalas, and so on and so forth. So, itong dalawang keywords na to, dito iikot yung buong or lahat ng process selection types na meron tayo. So let's proceed with the 5 basic process types. The first two that we will be talking about is job shop and batch. Job shop, it is used when a low volume of high variety goods or services will be needed. While batch, it is used when a moderate volume of goods or service is desired and it can handle a moderate variety. An example of job shop is yung mga tool and die shop producing one-of-a-kind tools, veterinarian offices. For batch process naman, dito yung mga bakeries, yan, cakes, cookies, paint, beer, magazines, plays, music videos, etc., etc., etc. So, the next two that we'll be talking about is repetitive and continuous. Itong dalawa naman, it is for repetitive, it is used when higher volumes or of more standardized goods or service are needed. Examples are provided: production and assembly line for automobiles, pencils, automatic car wash, cafeteria lines, etc. For continuous naman, it is used when a very high volume of non-discrete, highly standardized output is desired. Examples are given here: petroleum products, steel, flour, monitoring and supplying electricity to homes and businesses, or the internet itself. So, sir, bakit hiniwalay nyo sa dalawa yung first 4 basic process na meron tayo? For the first 2 basic process that we have, job shop and batch, dito lumalabas, or ito, ang focus ng dalawang ito is the first keyword that we have for process selection, which is variety. Both of these process types, yung job shop and yung batch, sobrang taas ng variety nila dun sa goods or service na ino-offer nila. Ang difference lang nito, for job shop, mataas ang variety niya, pero hindi gaano kadami ang napoproduce natin, or hindi ganon kadami ang nagagawa nating serbisyo sa mga tao. For example, veterinarian's office, nakalagay dito. Veterinarian's office, masyado siyang maraming kinds of animals na inaalagaan, masyadong maraming variety of animals, masyado rin marami ang variety of injuries and diseases natin. Pero low volume lang siya kasi very niche market or very small market lang naman, yung mga pet owners lang naman ang pumupunta sa mga veterinarians natin. So very low volume pero sobrang high ng variety natin kasi they can offer or they can offer different kinds of goods or services na related sa mga diseases or related sa pag-aalaga ng mga hayop. Sobrang taas ng variety na ino-offer ng veterinarian's office, pero low volume lang siya kasi hindi naman nila kayang mag-alaga or hindi naman nila kayang mag-take care of 1,000 guests every day. Hindi naman nila kaya mag-produce ng ganun kadaming goods or service in a day. So it's very low volume kasi very intimate or very intricate. Another example is yung tool and die shop producing one-of-a-kind tools. Dito lumalabas yung different specialty shops na meron tayo. For example, sa knives, we have here different brands like yun nga, one of the more well-known brands is Tramontina, and that kind of brand they produce different kinds of knives. So high variety tayo, different kinds of knives used for different kinds of cuts or selections, pero very low volume lang siya kasi hindi naman niya kayang mag-mass produce ng ganun kasobra-sobra. Next thing that we will be talking about is the batch. If yung job shop natin is high variety pero low volume, batch naman it's moderate variety and moderate volume. So one of the examples na nakalagay dito is yung mga bakeries. Of course, if you would go to a bakery shop, yung kahit yung mga nasa kanto-kanto lang natin ng mga bakery, if you would notice, diba, parang hindi sila nawawalan ng supply ng tinapay dun sa kanilang mga paninda. Just basically means that they can produce that kind of volume, so medyo moderate, marami silang na ipoproduce ng mga bagay, and it also has moderate variety kasi there are different kinds of breads available. Pag pumunta kayo sa mga bakeries, kahit hindi lang mga breads, meron tayong cakes ngayon, cookies natin. So yun yung parang pinaka-difference ng dalawa. For the job shop, it's low volume, high variety. Masyadong marami kayong klase ng products na binibenta pero konti lang ang kaya nyong i-produce or konti lang ang kaya nyong ibigay. For batch naman, ito yung saktong-sakto lang, moderate value, moderate variety and moderate volume. So these two selection process, ang pinaka-focus talaga niya is variety. For the next two that we'll be talking about, repetitive and continuous, dito naman ang pinag-uusapan natin is volume. For repetitive, actually, if you would look at both process layouts or process natin, meron tayo repetitive and continuous, it's almost a little bit the same with one another. Pero one thing to take note for the difference of the two, let's first talk about the similarities or kung paano sila nagkapareho. Repetitive and continuous are both high volumes. So mass production po ang ibig sabihin natin. For repetitive processes, mass production ang ating ginagawa. For continuous process, mass production din ang ginagawa natin. Pero ano ang pinagkaiba nila sa dalawa? Kung mapapansin nyo, or as we go along the discussion, you would notice that for the continuous process layout, usually ang mga products na nandun is yung mga necessities, yung mga kailangan natin, like food, electricity, utilities, water, yun nga, gas, petroleum, nakalagay dito steel, of course for wood products, mga ganon. Dito sa continuous, ito yung mga necessities, yung mga kailangan talaga natin, yung mga bagay na hindi natin kayang mabuhay pag wala itong mga to, pero it is a necessity for our everyday lifestyle. For repetitive naman, dito yung mga mass production natin pero hindi ganun ka necessary yung products natin, or kumbaga it satisfies a need and want Pero compared with continuous kasi, since continuous siya, dapat tuloy-tuloy yung production. Hindi dapat nauubusan. Pag repetitive naman, it's almost like mass production of different kinds of products or different kinds of services. Pero, it's still relevant for you para kayo ay mabuhay. And then lastly, we have the project process layout. So, dito of course, it's non-routine, non-repetitive activity. Basically, from the word itself is a project process. Every project lang siya nabubuhay or every project lang siya nagkakaroon ng process. So, I hope everything is clear with that. Let's proceed. Here, it's a example. It's an example of how you would differentiate job shop, batch, repetitive, and continuous. If you would notice here, sa description natin, job shop, it's customized goods or service. For batch, it's semi-standardized or semi-customized goods or service. For repetitive, it is a standard itself. And for continuous, highly standard. Advantages, of course, you would see here for job shop. Since it is customized, it means it has a high variety of goods or service. It is more flexible. For batch naman, it is also flexible, pero hindi siya ganun ka-flexible tulad ng job shop processes natin. For repetitive and continuous naman, it's not. Both are not flexible. If you would notice here at the disadvantage area, repetitive, it's low flexibility. Also here in continuous, low flexibility, lack of variety, very rigid, costly to change, very high cost of downtime. So, kung titingnan nyo lang ito, you would notice parang may pattern siya, no? For job shop and batch, it's high variety, so very flexible. For repetitive and continuous, high volume siya, pero hindi siya flexible. Ang pinagkaiba nga lang, job shop and batch, since high variety siya, mas mahal siyang i-maintain compared with repetitive and continuous na since very low lang ang variety natin, very standardized ang mga products and service na binibigay natin, hindi ganun siya ka-costly. So next, we have the facility layout. So we've already identified kung anong klaseng process ang meron kayo, no? Kung anong klaseng process ang pwede nyong i-apply sa inyong business. So now we'll be talking about the layout of your facility. But first, let's talk about this question. Why is management of technology important? You guys, as future managers or future operations managers of specific companies, of different companies, mapapansin nyo na kung kayo as manager, hindi nyo alam kung paano patakbuhin ang technology na meron na ginagamit nyo in your operations, lugi kayo as managers. As managers, you should always have this kind of knowledge regarding the tools, the equipments, the technology that you are using in order to really process the whole operation. Para mas magkaroon kayo ng gamay sa mga tao na magtatrabaho under sa inyo, dapat familiar kayo or dapat knowledgeable kayo sa technology na ginagamit nyo or sa mga dun sa tools and equipments na ginagamit nyo for your processes. So, klaro naman tayo dun. Dapat kayo as future managers, familiar kayo doon sa ginagamit nilang sistema or ginagamit nilang technology in order to really operate or really process it well. So first, let's proceed with the facility layout discussion. For facility layout, it is defined here as the configuration of departments, work centers, and equipment with particular emphasis on movement of work through the system. It answers the question on how equipment, machinery, and people will be arranged to make production process as efficient as possible. So, base sa ating discussion, ang facility layout natin, dito nyo makikita kung ano ang gusto nyong workflow. kung ano ang gusto nyong maging sistema sa inyong business. Kung papaano nyo ipopwesto yung mga tao nyo, kung papaano nyo ipopwesto yung mga machines, kung papaano nyo ipopwesto lahat-lahat ng bagay sa inyong company, dito natin to pag-uusapan sa layout. So for layout or for the facility layout, we will be talking about two types of facility layout. We have the product layout and process layout. So let's talk about these. First, for the product layout, it is defined here as a layout that uses standardized processing operations to achieve smooth, rapid, high volume flow. Based from that kind of definition, what do you think is the most applicable process here on this kind of layout? I repeat, it is a layout that uses standardized processing operations to achieve smooth, rapid, high volume flow. So from that definition, makikita nyo na wait lang, for product layouts, pasok dito yung ating repetitive process and yung continuous process natin. So yun lang talaga siya. Basically, for those two types of processes, ito ang klaseng layout na meron tayo. This is often used for repetitive processing, tulad ng nakalagay dito. High volume of standardized goods is produced efficient by people, equipment, or departments, etc., etc. So this is an example of, or this is actually the most accurate definition or most accurate diagram for product layouts. So makikita nyo dito, raw materials or customers will go in. Ito yung ating input. Si Station 1, siya ang mamahala doon sa raw materials. Pagkatapos niya, ibabato niya sa Station 2, ibabato sa Station 3, ibabato sa 4, hanggang sa matapos. So, ganun. Para kayo may sinusundang line, assembly line. So, yun yung process na madalas ginagamit for repetitive processing, like repetitive or continuous process. So, ito yung advantage niya. Kung ano ang advantage ng repetitive process and ng continuous process, most likely yun lang din ang advantage and disadvantage ng product layout. Nakalagay dito, high rate of output, of course, since high volumes tayo, mass production. Low unit cost, of course, since pare-parehas, halos walang variety ang ating products, pare-parehas ang lumalabas, pare-parehas lang ang kailangan nating mga materials. Labor specialization, of course, if you guys will have that kind of machines or assembly line, dapat skilled ang workers nyo in order to see if the machines is still functioning well or not. Low material handling costs, high utilization, etc., etc. Let's now talk about the disadvantages of product layout. It creates dull, repetitive jobs. Of course, kung walang variety kasi sa inyong trabaho, kung walang variety ang products nyo, medyo magiging repetitive talaga siya, and it may cause a little bit of inefficiency parating sa mga trabahador natin, lalo na kung magsasawa sila bigla. Poorly skilled workers may not maintain equipment. Ito yung sinasabi ko doon sa labor specialization. Fairly inflexible to change in volume of or product or process design. Anong ibig sabihin nito? Pag ang inyong buong proseso ay biglang magbabago in an instant, just like that, magkakaroon ng pagbabago, it cannot really adapt that fast. Dapat hindi siya ganun binibigla sa mga changes natin. So if you have a business that runs with a product layout, kung repetitive or continuous ang kanyang process, dapat kung magkakaroon ng pagbabago, gradually natin itong ini-instill or gradually natin itong ini-implement. Dapat hindi isang bagsakan agad-agad yun na. Kasi it's repetitive eh. If it is repetitive, it is already a routine. If it is a routine, hindi na siya ganun kadali baguhin. So dapat unti-unti. So let's talk about now with the other one, process layouts. With the process layouts, kung sa product layout, ang nakalagay doon is high volume for repetitive and continuous processes. For process layout naman, ito yung mga high variety or may variation sa mga process. So dito papasok si job shop and si anong pangalan nun? Batch. So here in this definition of process layout, this is a layout that can handle varied processing requirements. These are used for intermittent processing. It is continuous workflow. This is applicable to job shop and batch processing. These are occasionally called as functional layouts because the process is designed such that operations of similar nature or functions are grouped together. So ano po ang ibig sabihin nito? If doon sa product layout natin is isang buong diretsong line ang sinusunod, for process layout naman pwedeng iba-iba. Iba-iba ang iba-ibang departments or iba't ibang parts ng company nyo ang magtatrabaho in order to produce that specific good or service. Pero take note, yes, iba-iba siya, pero dapat they are grouped together as one. Dapat lahat ng mga kailangan in order to produce that kind of good or service is available within the reach of the department. So for example, nakalagay dito, these types of layout are also quite common in service environment. Madalas talaga sa service environments to, such as hospitals, colleges and universities, banks, auto repair shop, airlines, and public libraries. So madalas ang ganitong klaseng process layout natin is nakikita sa mga service industry na meron tayo. For example, sa mga restaurant, let's say for example, sa restaurants, si kitchen malapit lang sa receiving area, si cashier malapit lang dito sa ganito, si service area malapit lang din. So the whole, kumbaga walang specific line of process. Iba-iba. They are all working together to produce the service that their guest wants, or to produce the good that the service wants. So yung advantage natin for that, of course, can handle a variety of processing requirements, not particularly vulnerable to equipment failures since everyone can help with one another. General purpose equipment is often less costly and easier and less costly to maintain, etc. Next, we'll be talking about the disadvantage. Of course, kung high variety ang advantage natin, disadvantage natin is medyo mahirap i-inventory and mataas ang cost niya for sure. Routing and scheduling pose continual challenges. Equipment utilization rates are low. Material handling is slow and inefficient. Reduced spans of supervision, etc., etc. So actually, if you guys will see, ang pinaka-difference lang naman talaga ng product layout from process layout is this. For product layout, ang focus natin dito is the repetitiveness, yung paulit-ulit na processing. So dapat iisang line lang ang ating trabaho. Dapat iisang line lang or iisa lang ang assembly line natin para meron tayong mass production. Tuloy-tuloy, walang hahalo na ibang process. Whereas with process layout naman, dito kasi nagkakahalo-halo yung mga processes. Depende kung ano yung good or service na ipoproduce natin. Sir, question, bakit nagkakahalo-halo yung mga process na meron tayo in order to produce the specified good or service na gusto ng ating mga customers? Kasi nga, 'di ba, process layout, it's high variety. Iba-iba ang mga produkto, iba-iba ang mga serbisyo na binibigay ng mga companies na to. So, these different kinds of departments within the company will work together to perform well. So, hindi to iisang assembly line lang na tuloy-tuloy from start to finish. Hindi po siya ganun. Paiba-iba siya. So, yun lang ang difference niya. And also, if you will see for product layout, repetitiveness means dapat ang kanyang process is repetitive and continuous. For Process layouts naman, dapat ang kanyang processing is yung mga for job shop and batch processing. So I hope that is clear with you guys. If you have further questions for that, please feel free to ask me anytime, and I will be ready to answer your questions and to help you better understand the lesson. So yun lang naman. See you guys soon and take care. Bye-bye.